All right. The name is DelMan, aka Four Eyes the Ugly Professor, doing the album review for the new Clipse. Let God sort them out. This album review is done on behalf of Old Heads Network. All right, I know there's been a lot of album reviews for this particular project, so here's another one. This is my point of view, and I have to say off the top, I really appreciate the Clipse rollout for this album, doing the promotion, going all the different platforms and shows, giving interviews. I know they're getting tired of answering the same questions over and over, being on so many different platforms, but I feel it's needed, especially for artists of this nature, to bring attention that it deserves and the attention that it needs for a project this good. And especially when you haven't been out in a while as a group. Like, I really appreciated the Common and Pete Rock promotion rollout for their album Auditorium part of Volume 1 last year. And I mentioned that in the review that I did for that album last year, how they went on all the different platforms and gave all these interviews at different podcasts and shows. They didn't do as many as Clipse have, but I appreciated they roll out. And then LL did the same thing. LL Cool J did the same thing for his album Force, going on these different platforms and giving interviews. And I feel that artists of that nature and that ilk need to do that, especially when they haven't dropped a project out in a while, especially when the project is that good. It needs the attention. And I really like how the last 2 years, the dudes that can really rap, or the folks that can really rap, are getting the mainstream attention, like Kendrick last year, and even the early part of this year, and now the Clipse are getting that mainstream love, so to speak, when they're niggas that can actually rap. Usually that's reserved for the party MCs or the MCs that are a little light on lyrics. They're not that lyrical, but it's good to see lyrical guys getting that attention that they deserve. So my first time hearing the Clipse as a duo, they were called Eclipse, if I'm not mistaken, and they had a song called A Funeral. And I heard it by way of video. That's when I first heard the song. When I first heard the song, I saw the video. And I was impressed with that song. The song was nice. I think it came out like in the late 90s. So I was anticipating the album, like, oh, who these guys? And they was supposed to put out an album featuring that song. The album was called Exclusive Audio Footage. And it never was released. It was shelved. I think they was on Electric Records at the time, and it was shelved. And the album never came out officially. But I think you can find it now on certain platforms and on YouTube. I think you can actually hear that album that was intended to come out in the late 90s. So the actual first official release was God Willing. You know, that's the joint that had grinding and all that, which was a good album. But I think their best album, I think this is their best album. I think Let God Sort Them Out is their best album. I hope I'm not being a prisoner of the moment, but before this album dropped, I thought Hell Have No Fury was their best album. That album dropped in 2006. I thought that was their best album until now. I think this is the best album by the Clipse. Let God Sort Them Out. As a group, I think this is their best album. And they have like they have like 4 albums. No, they have 5 albums. If you're not including that first one that was supposed to come out in the late 90s, exclusive footage joint, audio footage. If you're not including that, if you're including that, they got 5 albums. So Pusha T he's been on a good run, you know, with his last 2 solo albums and now this group album, this duo album with his brother. He's been on a good run, you know, with Daytona. That's considered a classic by many. And then It's Almost Dry was a good album. I really like that joint. And now you have this. So Pusha T has been consistent as of late, as solo and now with his brother, coming back into the fold as a group, as a duo. And this new album is not just coke rap. I know that's what they are known for, especially Pusha T, but it's not just coke rap. It's some grown-up shit on here. It's very lyrical, more lyrical than some people anticipated. They thought it was going to be more street and coke, but at their age, they starting to show a little growth, a little elevation. I didn't mind all the coke rap, and I always thought he was a little bit more. Pusha T, speaking of, talking about his last 2 solo albums, I thought he was more. It was more to him than just coke rap, but he got that label on him, and I don't mind hearing the coke rap if you can rap. If you can actually rap, I don't mind hearing the coke rap. I like every song on this new album, with the exception of one, but I'm going to talk about that later. I'm going to get into some of the songs that I like. Well, I like all of them besides one, like I said, so I get in detail about different songs. But Pharrell did all the production. He's been doing production with them from the start, either with the Neptunes or by himself. And there was some questions from some certain niggas and other niggas online saying how good can Pharrell be on production without Chad, his old Neptunes partner. But in a recent interview, out of many of the interviews that Clipse did, Pusha T has stated that Pharrell basically did the whole album of Hell Had No Fury in 2006. So this is not a new thing of Pharrell just taking over the production by himself, according to Pusha T. And to me, that was their best album until now. Now, their best album is another album that Pharrell just did by himself, according to Pusha T. So the album starts off with The Birds Don't Sing featuring John Legend. I remember back in the day, John Legend used to be on a lot of rappers' hooks, singing the hooks and choruses and shit. So that was a surprise to see him back singing on somebody else's chorus and hook as far as rappers go, because he used to do that all the time, and then that died down. So I really like this song. Unusual way to start off an album, because this song is about the loss of their parents. I believe Pusha T talks about the mother, and then Malice or No Malice, whatever he's going by nowadays, he talks about the father. They lost both of their parents recently. And usually a song like that on an album, if you're sequencing it, it'll usually be towards the end or the very last song. So that was unusual, and I think kind of like a risk for them to start the album with that type of song first. But it works. Strangely enough, it does work. And then you got another song. The next song after that is called Chains and Whips. This has been getting a lot of buzz. It features Kendrick Lamar. They have a video for it. Kendrick Lamar is not in the video, but the video still works. The song is a banger. I really dig that joint. Then you got another song called POV featuring Tyler, the Creator. This is a nice song. Tyler gets his man. I've been having more and more respect for Tyler, the Creator lately. Recently, then from the past, I thought he was a little too off the beaten path for me back in the past, but with his recent projects, I'm starting to dig him more. And he showed out on this joint. You got another song called So Be It, which they have a music video for. This joint is a banger. I like kind of like the beat going in reverse, like some old Beastie Boys shit, Paul Revere type shit. I dig that joint. And then you got Ace Trumpets. I believe this is the first single. This is the first song that I heard, and the first song that many people heard from this new album. And I really dig it. I like it. It's nice. And they have another song called MTBTTF, which means or stands for Mike Tyson Blow, something. I don't know what the rest of it stands for, but it's a good song. I dig it. Then you got another song called EBITDA. Don't know what that stands for just yet. That's a nice joint. Then you got another song called FICO, which I don't recall what's that, what's the meaning of that, or whatever that stands for. But it features, I believe it features Stove God, Cooks. And the song is nice, but I wish Stove God Cooks had did a verse instead of just doing a hook. He just does the hook on here. I wish he had gave him a verse instead of just a hook. And then you got Inglorious Bastards featuring Am Live. Am Lava, he's been featured on past Clipse albums. He's nice. I like him. And it also features DJ Clue. Dig it. Really like that song. Like the horns on that joint. I like what Pharrell did with that joint. It's simple, but it definitely bangs. It definitely works. And then you got another song called So Far Ahead. Good joint. And you got another song called Let God Sort 'Em Out, the title track, featuring Nas Wiz. Let God Sort 'Em Out / Chandeliers. And I think the Chandeliers part is the song that features Nas. Even though it's one song, it has like 2 titles. And I think the Chandeliers title is for Nas, the Nas feature. And Nas does his thing. I love the beat change up that goes into the Chandelier joint featuring Nas. So that joint is nice. And then you got the last song called By the Grace of God. I think this is a cool way to end the album. Dig that song. The only song that I didn't care for was All Things Considered. I thought the Pharrell singing was overdone. I thought it was a little too much. But, you know, that's only one song. So I have to give this album an A- to A. I give it an A. You know, it was like a strong A-, but I'm going to give it an A. Because there's only one song that I didn't care for. After several listens, it still haven't grown on me. So that might be the only song that I will skip out the album, or, you know, I might just let it run. But this is a good album. Not ready to say it's a classic, but it's on the verge. It's borderline classic. I definitely say that. No question about that. It's borderline classic. It's the best album that I've heard this year so far. The year's not over. We only like halfway through. So far, I really dig it. And now I want to give some love to an album all you folks should be listening to. It's my folks, Utopian Nights. And the name of this album is called Deity, if I'm saying that correct. And the album is great. It's introspective. It's critical thinking. It's grown-up rap. It's all that deep thought. And it also, if you just don't want to hear all that through a whole album, it got the bars. It got the bar sessions on there. Niggas talking they shit and getting they shit off. But it also has the thought-provoking songs as well, like on religion, growing up, life itself, just life lessons, relationships, all them things of that nature. All the shit combined along with the shit talking bars, niggas just going off on it. So support, get that joint is on, should be on most, if not all, music streaming platforms. Great album, highly recommended. It's one of the best albums I heard this year. It was actually the best album I heard this year until Clipse came out, and I still will put it over Clipse. That's just me probably being biased because I know them folks, but it's a great album. It definitely can compete with that album if you give it a listen. So there you have it. I'm done. I'm finished. Subscribe, like, and all that good shit, and I'm done.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine. Elevate your mind with high quality THC infused products. BlackYeti.com. Black-Yeti.com.
CLB.